Very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take.
U.S. and Israel forces launching a major attack against Iran overnight as tensions over nuclear weapons peak. We'll walk you through the ongoing attacks ahead. A trial is set for a 2016 East Texas murder case of a pregnant woman. When that trial is scheduled and what's expected next. Many see it as a rite of passage in high school, but the cost of going to prom can be a barrier. We're showing you how an organization is helping students get the outfits they need to attend.
Well, we're looking at another warm and quiet weekend ahead, but those rain chances really start to ramp up next week. We'll talk about all the details right here on Good Morning East Texas Weekend.
Caring, committed, proud of East Texas. You're watching Good Morning East Texas Weekend.
Good morning, East Texas. Thanks for waking up with us. Today is Saturday, February 28th, and we're here to help you make the most of your day. Let's head over to First Alert meteorologist Emily Edwards for a look at today's forecast. Emily, today was a nice day when I walked outside.
It was. You know, we're waking up pretty mild this morning, but it's going to be warm later today, a lot like what we've seen all week long. Here's a live look outside this morning at downtown Tyler. You can see some of that cloud cover across the area this morning. But through the rest of our Saturday, we'll eventually see some of those clouds beginning to scatter out, and we'll see some sunshine later this afternoon. Temperatures on the mild side for many of us. We've got a few 40s out there, some 50s, even some 60s as well. 62 right now in Tyler and Jacksonville. It's 53 in Longview, 50 in Marshall, 48 degrees in Carthage this morning, 46 in Center. It's 55 in Lufkin, 59 degrees in Crockett. A look at our pet project forecast for the day. We've got our sweet friend Tiger, how cute, taking a nap there. We'll see a pretty quiet forecast for the rest of the day. As I mentioned, that cloud cover that we're seeing this morning, that begins to clear out some through the afternoon. We'll eventually see some sunshine, and it's going to be another warm day. High temperatures running well above average. We're going to be in the 80s later today, Brooke, and that warm trend, well, that continues for the rest of our weekend and even into next week. So an extended period of some warmer weather.
Awesome. And Tiger is so cute.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much, Emily. Happening right now, Israel and U.S. forces are launching a major attack on Iran. That attack began around 7 hours ago and is still ongoing. The attack's happening as tensions between the U.S. and Iran about constraining nuclear research in Iran has reached a new peak. ABC's Michelle Franzen reports.
The strikes by Israel and the U.S. hitting targets in Tehran during the morning. Video showing large plumes of smoke billowing against the blue skies with Iranians seemingly caught off guard. President Trump at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida making the announcement to Americans and the world.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Earlier, Israeli officials called the strikes preemptive and issued a state of emergency, telling Israelis to be on alert due to drone and missile attacks that were sure to follow by Iran. ABC's Ian Panel in Tel Aviv when alerts went out on Israel's app warning people to take shelter.
There was a launch in the direction of Israel. It wasn't clear which city it was aimed at, and then literally just about a minute or so ago, the haunting sound of the air raid sirens rang out.
The U.S. has spent the last few weeks building up military resources in the Middle East, sending ships, including strike carriers, destroyers, along with fighter jets positioned throughout the region. President Trump, in his address, called Iran the top sponsor of terror and called for regime change after nearly 5 decades, saying Iran will not be allowed to develop nuclear weapons. The president also issuing a sober warning that there could be American casualties. Iran launched retaliatory strikes in the region with the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain, warning a U.S. Navy command center was targeted and Americans in Qatar told to shelter in place due to incoming missiles. President Trump, who campaigned on the pledge not to start any new wars, has now launched what could be a long campaign. Michelle Franzen, ABC News, New York.
Right now, it's unclear how many casualties there are in the strikes. The situation is actively developing, and we will give you more updates as we learn more. A Gregg County jury decided on probation sentences for 2 former principals convicted of child abuse less than 24 hours ago. The deliberation took just under an hour. Gmet Weekends' Katie Parker brings us additional sentencing from the judge, plus witness testimony of an incident involving one of the principals from 15 years ago.
You get to be the voice for the victims. You get to be the voice for the community.
A jury decided on probation sentences for 2 former principals found guilty of child abuse.
I said from the start, a representative of the people needed to make this decision. Obviously, our theory was they all knew what was going on. A jury was spoken, and we totally support their decision, and we were happy to do it this way, and this is the way it always needed to be done.
I think they understood in terms of rehabilitation and respect for the law. I haven't lived with it like the community, and I'm hoping this is an option for healing.
Former J.L. Everhart principal Cassandra James was sentenced to 7 years probation and a $10,000 fine. Former assistant principal Linda Lister was given 10 years probation and a $10,000 fine. The judge ruled both will serve 10-year probation sentences, and that Lister will serve jail time due to interactions with teachers and evidence of similar behavior from 15 years ago.
You should have told them to be professional. You should have told them to treat those kids with dignity. But instead you warned them about something. Well, I saw it on video what you warned them about. And then you had this incident about 10 years ago, and ma'am, you're going to come back Monday at 5 o'clock. And as a term and condition of your probation, you're going to go to jail.
Sentencing testimony revealed a 2011 incident involving Lister and disciplinary actions against a kindergarten student.
Miss Lister came to the room and jerked her up by her arm and drug her out the door by her arm across the floor. She wasn't standing up.
15 minutes later, the teacher learned her student was left outside the school building by Lister, who was, quote, keeping an eye on her.
She had her face against the glass, and her sack lunch had ants in it, and I brought her in and cleaned her up.
The judge can assign Lister up to 180 days in jail. Katie Parker, KLTV 7 News.
Following that 2011 event, CPS was contacted, but they didn't file their report within 30 days. That's why the investigation did not show up on Lister's teaching record. We will keep you updated on Lister's incoming jail sentence. A trial date has been set for a woman charged with murder in the 2016 death of Shariah Grant. Grant was 8 months pregnant when she died. The trial for Lanisha Young is set for September 2027. She's one of 3 charged for Grant's death. Prosecutors want to try one of the other defendants, Alan Sutton, first. That's set to happen in March of 2027. We spoke with Grant's family, who say they're still waiting for justice.
Just the hurt, the anger, the pain. We still haven't been able to have a proper burial service, memorial service for her at all. It's just a lot of hurt because we still, want to know why. It's just a lot of unanswered questions.
Prosecutors plan to try Edward Brager, the 3rd defendant after Young. Right now, there's no trial date set for him yet. The Henderson Police Department is asking for your help in finding a missing man. 23-year-old Joseph Shelton was last seen 2 weeks ago in the area of Van Buren Street in the city of Henderson. He's 5'8" and weighs around 160 pounds. Police say they don't have a description of his clothing, but he may have a gaming system and a laptop with him. If you or someone you know has information about his location, police urge you to call them at the number you see there on your screen. Transportation Security Administration workers will receive only a portion of their next paycheck. That's according to a union official representing TSA workers. The reduced pay comes as the partial government shutdown enters its 3rd week, and the shutdown includes all agencies under the umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security. We're keeping your family safe this morning with a kitchen appliance recall. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says over 40,000 pressure cookers are under recall for a burn risk. The Gourmet 6-quart cookers were sold between 2017 and 2020 at Best Buy and online. The lid can open while it's still pressurized, causing hot contents to spray out. It's led to 5 reports of burns, 4 of them being severe. There are also 2 lawsuits pending in regards to the issue. Owners are urged to stop using the cookers and dispose of them immediately. Do not sell or give them away. The CPSC says Gmet and Best Buy have refused to agree to issue a recall. Best Buy says it learned of the issue 6 years ago, alerted CPSC, and stopped selling the cookers. Gmet says it's reviewing the matter. As spring arrives in East Texas, seasonal tree pollen is already causing trouble. Dr. Holly Blanco, a pediatrician at Christus Mother Francis in Lindale, says they've been seeing more allergy-related visits at their clinic lately. Typical symptoms include a runny nose, sneezing, and itchy, watery eyes. Dr. Blanco says there are ways to prevent exposure and reduce these symptoms.
Keeping your windows closed, using the AC unit with a HEPA filter. If you're going to be outside, taking a shower once you come inside. And if you tend to have those eye symptoms, even wearing sunglasses can try to help reduce some of that pollen getting into your eyes, causing the irritation.
It's recommended to see a doctor for allergies if symptoms are severe and persistent or not relieved by over-the-counter medication. Tomorrow will mark a big day for the state of Texas. The Palo Pinto Mountain State Park will open its gates to visitors for a soft opening. The park covers more than 4,800 acres located between Fort Worth and Abilene. The park will feature more than 16 miles of trails and the 90-acre Tucker Lake for fishing, swimming, and kayaking. A grand opening is set for this spring. It will be the first time in 25 years that Texas is opening a new state park. Starting tomorrow, a limited number of visitors will be able to get early access by reserving day passes. That QR code you see there on your screen will take you to a link where you can reserve your day passes, or you can go to KLTV or KTRE.com and click on the big red box. There you'll find a link. Happening today, prom season is almost here and parents know it can be expensive. Well, to help out, the Zonta Club of Longview has now opened its annual one-day prom boutique at the Longview Fairgrounds Exhibit Center. They were busy all day yesterday preparing for the big dress giveaway. About 100 volunteers helped move the clothing racks and dresses, starting up a large dress shop inside the center, complete with dressing rooms.
It actually feels good to be able to help out people, especially when they're helping out the children, to be able to have a prom dress for the prom and being able to attend and not have to worry about those issues.
Again, folks, if you're in need of a prom dress, the boutique is set up inside the Longview Fairgrounds Exhibit Center. It's open until 3 p.m. and it's first come, first served, so make sure you stop by. And you can register to get a dress by scanning the QR code on your screen or by clicking the big red box at KLTV and KTRE.com. A North Dakota athlete is his high school's first wrestling state champion in 3 seasons. It's Dylan Massette's first state title as an individual, and it's extra special because of the person he gets to share it with. Luke Gamble has a story.
State titles are a special experience. St. Mary's junior Dylan Massette felt that for the first time this year, winning the 127-pound Class A championship.
I mean, the feeling's just amazing.
But as special as it was for Massette, it meant just as much to his fans in the stands.
I don't know what to say. It's just something you probably dream about, but never really thought it would ever happen.
Dylan's grandpa, Tom Dietz, had this day circled on his calendar since Dylan finished 4th at state as a sophomore.
After he come off the mat last year, I told him, I said, you know, Dylan, next year you have to take it because it'll be 60 years for me and that'd just be really cool. And he listened. What the heck?
I just kind of looked at him and rolled my eyes and said, we'll see. And I mean, the opportunity just was there and couldn't be happier.
Yeah, this is 112.
Tom won the 112-pound championship.
There's the stud right there.
While wrestling at Bismarck High in 1966. Now, 60 years later, his grandson shares the same title. State champion.
The words can't even describe that feeling.
Dylan says it's something he's been chasing for a while, since his days as a mat pack wrestler. when he practiced at Bismarck High.
Every day in practice, I'd see Tom Dietz on the wall, state champ, 1966, and I just think to myself, like, wow, like, hoping I could be on a wall someday. Now I am, I guess.
And for Tom, watching his grandson share the sport he loved has reignited a passion for the past.
Oh, yeah, I was away from it for a lot of years. I refereed after college. Then I just kind of threw everything in the box and put it behind me until these guys come up. They brought it all back.
Well, get this, Dylan's next step is surpassing his grandpa by chasing something he hasn't achieved yet, becoming a two-time state champion. Tom says he'll be right by his side as his biggest supporter. Now let's check back in with meteorologist Emily Edwards in the First Alert Weather Center. Emily, I'm not surprised about these allergies we were just talking about because I can feel spring coming.
Yeah, the pollen count has been really high lately. That tree pollen, I mean, it's everywhere in the air, and that's likely going to be the case throughout the rest of our weekend as well. And we're going to be warm for the next couple of days also. We'll talk more details about your First Alert forecast coming up, but first, a look outside at our Roberts & Roberts Neighborhood WeatherNet site in Marshall. It's 50 degrees.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by jchadparker.com. Don't get hurt twice.
Well, temperatures are in the 50s and 60s for us this Saturday morning. 62 in Tyler, 53 in Longview, 55 in Lufkin this morning, 59 degrees in Athens and Canton. And through the rest of the day, we're going to warm up quite nicely. In fact, a lot like what we've seen all week long. We're seeing a bit of cloud cover through the morning, but into the afternoon, that'll start to clear up. And those high temperatures are going to top off in the lower 80s once again today. So we're continuing to run about 15 to 20 degrees above average for us this time of year. Now, the forecast does stay pretty quiet through the rest of our weekend. Those winds starting to pick up some tomorrow, but otherwise a partly cloudy day. We're still warm for your Sunday. It's not until next week that we start to see those changes. Here's Futurecast. As I mentioned, a quiet weekend ahead for us. By Monday, a very slight chance for rain returning to the forecast. It's not going to be much. We'll see the same thing on Tuesday, but by the middle of next week, we're watching our next storm system. That's going to bring that chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms back into the area by Wednesday of next week, and we'll see multiple rounds of thunderstorms through the mid to late part of next week, so continuing even into Thursday, Friday, even Saturday of next week. So right now we have a First Alert weather day in place for our Wednesday as we're getting into springtime. Anytime we have that threat of thunderstorms, we could see a few of those strong to severe thunderstorms, and don't be surprised as we get closer and closer to next week if we add more First Alert weather days to this. Right now, just a First Alert weather day in place for our Wednesday, but as we get closer, as the forecast becomes a little bit clearer, as we get more of those details, we may need to extend that round of First Alert weather days. But in the meantime, quiet weather for the weekend. We'll see some sunshine today, a bit of sunshine tomorrow as well. Temperatures staying in the lower 80s for us through the weekend. We stay pretty warm through next week. You'll notice those slight chances for rain returning by Monday and Tuesday, but that really starts to ramp up by Wednesday and even into the end of next week as that next storm system moves in and as that brings us that next chance for those scattered thunderstorms. So you'll want to pay close attention to the forecast and stay weather alert over the next week or so.
Sounds like we're going to have a great weekend before all that rain comes. Thanks so much, Emily.
Exactly.
And if you're still looking for ways to spend your weekend, there's plenty to see and do right here in East Texas. Our Jeremy Butler takes you through it all in today's tailor-made weekend. Check it out.
All right, good morning, East Texas. Welcome once again to the Tailor Made Weekends East Texas Weekend, featuring a few ideas to help you make the most of your weekend. Let's take a look. First up, it's an East Texas staple, and if you've never been to First Monday, there's no better time than now. Kick off your spring with a hunt for decor, furniture, clothing, and more. Or, hey, we're still learning new skills this year, and the Tyler Public Library is hosting Bringing Butterflies into Your Backyard. At 2 p.m., learn from a master gardener about how to, well, bring butterflies into your backyard. Or head out to Murchison at 5 to learn how to make your own lei and bring some island charm to your own East Texas weekend. At 7 p.m., we're dusting off our boots for a George Strait tribute band at the Texan Theater in Athens. Get ready to sing and dance the night away. Or for a more traditional show, the Temple Theater in Lufkin is hosting their production of Oklahoma, but unlike that George Strait show, leave the singing and dancing to those on stage. If you want to add some laughter to your weekend, comedian Jerry Wayne Longmire is serving them up at the Lamplight Theater in Nacogdoches at 7:30 p.m. And of course, for more to do, see, taste, and experience all across the East Texas area, including a full live music roundup, just go ahead and download that free East Texas Weekend mobile app. And there you have it. It's going to wrap things up for me here, but of course, no matter what you do this weekend, have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. For Tailor Made Weekend, I'm Jeremy Butler.
Who wouldn't want butterflies in their backyard? If you'd like an event featured on Tailor Made Weekend, you can email jeremy.butler@kltv.com. He's always looking for ideas to share with you every Saturday morning right here on Good Morning East Texas Weekend. An East Texas angler is reeling from pulling a nearly 14-pound monster bass out of Lake Tyler. We'll have more on the Emery man who made the big catch. And one man is helping lift cancer patients up by sharing artwork that he painted, a skill that he picked up during his own time in chemotherapy. That story when we return.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by jchadparker.com. Don't get hurt twice.
Well, we're starting off our Saturday morning pretty mild. We're seeing a few clouds out there, but those will start to clear out as we head into the afternoon. We'll see some sunshine, and high temperatures today are going to climb into the lower 80s for us, well above normal for this time of year. Now, we'll see another cool night ahead, partly cloudy. Those temperatures dip down into the upper 50s overnight, and then tomorrow you'll notice those winds really starting to pick up out of the south during the afternoon. Gusts as high as 15 to 20 miles an hour. We'll see a few more clouds throughout our Sunday. It's still going to be warm tomorrow, though. High temperatures climbing into the lower 80s once again. But then that pattern starts to shift a bit more as we head into next week. That slight chance for rain returns by Monday and continues through the early part of next week. But you'll notice by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, those rain chances really start to ramp up. We're expecting multiple rounds of scattered thunderstorms to move into the area. A few of those could become strong to severe at times. So right now, a first alert weather day is in place for our Wednesday, but we could see that first alert weather day extended even into later next week. Brooke, back to you.
Thanks so much, Emily. One East Texan angler got a big catch at a lake he had never fished at before. Take a look at this. Emery native Jack York reeled in the catch after about 4 hours on Lake Tyler Thursday. ShareLunker, a Texas Parks and Wildlife program that works to research and breed large fish, weighed the fish in at 13.45 pounds. York said he was using gizzard shad bait and noted he will definitely return to Lake Tyler. Check this out. A 19th century Texas relic has a new home at Stephen F. Austin State University. The Middlebrook family has kept the book for more than 130 years. Now they're donating it to SFA for preservation.
These things, they're rare. It's incredibly difficult for these things to survive. And so, again, we're really happy that it's here. It'll be in good company with a lot of other historical records.
The research center says they will be digitalizing the book. A cancer patient in Tennessee is using his love of art to bring comfort to others at the hospital where he underwent treatment for himself. Reporter Rob Coles spoke with him about the gift he's giving to others.
That'll give it some texture.
Steve Wheeler has been painting pictures of places for years, but it's the place he's been painting in recently that helped inspire a new mission.
In August of 23, my wife Cindy was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And ironically, in October of that year, I was diagnosed with cancer.
While both were in treatment, he was looking to find a way to pass the time during radiation and chemotherapy visits.
One of our good friends gave me a little sketchbook and a small thing of watercolor paints and said, take these up there and do that.
Soon the paintings piled up, so he decided to start giving them away.
I actually gave a couple of them to some of the nurses that were really good with us, and it helped us a bunch.
And to patients too, going through tough times.
Tears sometimes. On both our parts, probably.
The chaplain at High Point Health in Gallatin, James Chapman, took notice.
Steve was sitting next to his wife and on the little tray table, he was painting.
Steve puts a Bible verse at the bottom of each painting.
Our oncologist gave me a list of scriptures that related to healing.
Soon, Chapman started passing the paintings along to patients he would visit too.
A lot of joy, a lot of happiness that comes from receiving that on the side of the patient or the family.
This all got him thinking. The walls of the hospital's chapel were a bit bare. So he asked Steve if he'd like to create some art that would stay in the hospital.
Found some scripture passages that tied along with the seasons and the seasons of life that we go through.
And so 4 paintings and those scripture passages are now hanging in the chapel. Steve says he's sharing his story, hoping that other folks will share their art with people in treatment.
I'd love to inspire some other artists and craftsmen and artisans and people that can do stuff like that.
A chance to change someone's day at a time when it could certainly use some brightening up.
Wheeler said his cancer battle is over, but his wife is still battling her disease. Coming up in sports, the Huntington Red Devils accomplished something that hasn't been done in over half a century. Gmet Weekend's Ryan Smith has the story.
East Texas Sports, sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union.
Well, good morning, East Texas. I'm Ryan Smith, and welcome into sports. The Huntington Red Devil basketball team has been on a tear, rolling into the playoffs on a 12-game winning streak, and are now heading to the region semifinal round next week. And the Red Devils continuing to make history ever since February 17th.
A lot of people were saying that we wouldn't be able to ever do this again. Huntington would never win district again.
For the first time in 52 years, the Huntington Red Devil basketball team can call themselves district champions, winning their first title since the 1974 season and bringing back some memories and similarities alike.
It's really been great. It's brought some of that Huntington lore, basketball lore of the past, and just kind of bringing back some of those memories from 1974 and the years before that.
But even though the two feats fall over half a century apart, they're still connected on the court through 2 grandsons, Grayson Johnson and Jared Harris, both of their grandfathers, Tim Johnson and Donnie Harris, playing on the iconic 74 squad.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that both of our grandparents were on that team. So, yeah, and then both of them being able to come watch our games. So, just see us do what they did.
I've always known about that team and looked up to them, and I've looked forward to this year, me and him playing together, and the rest of these guys, and I just knew I felt good about this year coming into it.
But those two not the only connection from 74 to 2026. There's also one in the coach's box as well.
My dad played here in 1968, but my uncle was on the team in 1974.
And although these Red Devils have snapped one streak out on the hardwood, they've still got a few more games before they can catch up to another one that's lasted just as long.
It would be amazing. It would be like a dream come true. I've been looking forward to, state tournament is one of my favorite things to go to every year, and it would be just amazing.
That'd be cool. It's going to be hard to do though, so we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Well, certainly congratulations to them on the success, and certainly looking forward to what the Red Devils, alongside our other East Texas teams, have in store down this playoff stretch. That's all from sports for now, but we'll be back in just a little bit.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, Georgia's Savannah Banana baseball team, I'm sure you've heard of them. Their brand of unique baseball antics have played in stadiums across the country. Reporter John Lieber spoke to an 81-year-old Missouri man who's hoping the team will give him a shot to go bananas.
You think 40 is old to play professional baseball? How about 81?
Rob Harrelson loves the Savannah Bananas.
You can watch baseball and fall asleep on the couch, but you don't fall asleep with the Bananas playing.
Now Harrelson is showing off his skills to try and play for the Bananas.
And I hit the ball, and I jump on that bike, and I take off, and I ride to first base.
He's crafty in the field, too, fielding a ground ball between his legs. Harrelson has coached baseball in Gravois Mills for over 30 years.
I started in 1993. And when my son was 10 years old in Little League, and he moved on, and nobody came in to step up, and so I just kept coaching.
But Banana Ball is a little different than Little League. But Harrelson says either way you play, the game is made for fun.
The game is made to have fun, and that's what the Bananas do. They have fun at it. We need something to laugh about and something to joke about, and I think their concept is just fabulous.
Well, I sure had fun watching him out there on the field. So far, there's been no word from the Savannah Bananas on whether they will give him a shot to play. Several music groups are announcing new documentaries that will release in the coming months. We've got the latest details on those documentaries and other entertainment updates coming up on Gmet Weekend.
Well, that warm weather continues for the weekend, but we've got chances for rain on the forecast next week. We'll talk about all those details coming up, but first, another look outside this morning at our Roberts and Roberts neighborhood WeatherNet site in Nacogdoches. It's 61 degrees.
A new documentary heading to movie theaters this year looks at one of the biggest bands of the past 50 years. Entertainment reporter Rick Damigella reveals which one, plus more music news in today's Hollywood Minute.
Iron Maiden on the big screen. The British heavy metal legends have revealed their upcoming documentary, Iron Maiden Burning Ambition. The rock doc roars into movie theaters May 7th. Rebellion rises everywhere I go. Ziggy Marley on tour. The reggae artist has announced the 20-date Ziggy Marley Brightside Tour, kicking off June 19th in Tucson, Arizona. Marley's forthcoming studio album Brightside releases on vinyl April 18th and digitally May 1st. That's Portland, Oregon trio Hoaxed and their new song, Where the Seas Fall Silent. The track comes from their just-released sophomore album, Death Knocks. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Another documentary coming up in the entertainment world is this one for Sir Paul McCartney. The documentary will focus on his post-Beatles career. Here's more on The Man on the Run.
The Beatles have been my whole life, really. When we split up, I thought, I'll never write another note of music ever.
Paul McCartney's life after the Beatles is explored in the documentary Man on the Run.
Baby, I'm amazed the way you love me all the time.
Academy Award-winning director Morgan Neville knew he had a daunting task in making the film.
When you're making a film about a Beatle, you feel like you're writing your own draft of history. I mean, you know people are going to pore over it and judge it against everything that's come before or might come after.
We started Wings from square one. This Paul McCartney of Wings. It was about trying to do something different.
I feel like I've been training for this film my entire life. You know, I have been a Beatles obsessive since I was 6. I've read every book, watched every documentary. I have every Wings album. You know, it's something that has meant so much to me throughout my life. So when the opportunity came up, I just felt like, oh, I'm going to put everything I can into this film, you know, and I did.
What was Paul's reaction to seeing the film?
He was kind of speechless when he first saw it. I mean, he just said it was like his entire life flashing before his eyes. But he had a piece of paper, a pad of paper with him when he watched it. And at the end, he said, "Here are my notes." And he held it up and he hadn't written anything down.
You know, we felt we'd finally arrived.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Man on the Run is now streaming on Prime Video.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by jchadparker.com. Don't get hurt twice.
Well, temperatures are still in the 50s and 60s for us this Saturday morning. We're seeing quite a bit of cloud cover as well, but that'll kind of scatter out through the afternoon. We'll eventually see some sunshine later today. It's going to be another warm day. High temperatures climb into the lower 80s for us this afternoon, and that warm weather continues for the second half of our weekend as well. Tomorrow, you'll notice those winds starting to pick up as well. That's going to once again lead to that elevated fire threat, and keep in mind all the burn bans we have across East Texas, so you want to refrain from doing any of that outdoor burning. Now that pattern does start to change as we head into next week. Tomorrow we'll see a few more clouds moving in. By Monday, a very slight chance for rain back in the forecast. Same thing on Tuesday. Now I don't expect much. That chance for rain only about 10% or so. So most of us stay dry even through the early part of the work week. But we're watching the mid to late part of next week with our next storm system that's going to bring that chance for some scattered thunderstorms back into the forecast. And we're expecting multiple rounds of thunderstorms next week, Wednesday, Thursday, even continuing into Friday and Saturday of next week. And at times, a few of them could become strong to severe. Right now, we have a first alert weather day in place for our Wednesday. You can see here a risk for a few strong to severe storms, mainly across kind of the northwestern half of our area. But as we get closer to next week, there is a possibility that we could see some strong storms even beyond Wednesday, as we're expecting those multiple rounds of rainfall to move into the area. So you want to keep a close eye on that forecast. It's a possibility that we may extend those first alert weather days into later next week. But an otherwise quiet weekend ahead for us. Temperatures stay in the 80s through early next week. We're drying tomorrow, that slight chance for rain returning by Monday and Tuesday, but it really starts to ramp up through the second half of next week with that first alert weather day in place for our Wednesday. Brooke, back to you.
Thanks, Emily. If you're dealing with ink stuck in your clothes, the Queen of Clean joins us to share some tips and tricks on removing those pesky ink splots. That's up next in just a couple of minutes. It's never fun getting ink stuck in your clothes, but with the right techniques and cleaning supplies, you can get that ink off no problem. That's what the Queen of Clean is sharing with us today.
You know, if you've had ink on your clothes before, you know it can be really hard to remove. But if they're white clothes, it's not quite as bad. But when they're colors, like something like this, and you get that ink stain on there, it can be really hard not to remove the ink and the color. So today I'm going to show you a really surprising way to do it. Now, I like to isolate my stains when I'm going to soak them. So I'm going to take my stain, and I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to make a little pouch out of it. Now, see how it's right in there? It's just a little pouch. Then I take a rubber band and I put around it nice and tight. So let me just twist this around good. And the reason I'm doing this is by tightening that down and turning it into a little isolated stain, it doesn't spread anywhere. And that's the most important part. All right, we're going to put this in a bowl and we're just going to let it sit. And then the most important part, milk. We're going to take milk. Now, don't use skim milk. Use whole milk or 2%. You need that milk fat to make it work. So we're going to pour the milk over it, and we're just going to let that soak down in that milk. And you know what? Give it half an hour, 35, 40 minutes. When you come back, lift it up, make sure it's gone. Give it a rub between your fingers if it's not. If it's not gone, soak it again, but don't take the rubber band off until you're ready to launder it. When you're ready to launder, rinse it, throw it in the wash, and you're done. It's amazing what you can do with milk.
And if you're looking for more tips to help keep your home clean, we have the Queen right here every Saturday morning on your Good Morning East Texas weekend. Well, get this, NASA is revamping its Artemis moon landing program. The Artemis 2 mission is a lunar fly-around by 4 astronauts, and it's off until at least April. The Artemis 3 mission was targeting a landing near the moon's south pole by another pair of astronauts. Now, NASA says that mission will instead focus on testing a lunar lander in orbit around Earth next year. NASA is hoping for 2 moon landings by astronauts in 2028. A record-breaking environmental discovery is uncovered by a mother-daughter duo taking a dip. Jeremy Roth explains in today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at an incredible, record-breaking discovery made by a mother-daughter diving duo. Citizen scientists Jan Pope and Sophie Kalkowski Pope were surveying parts of the Great Barrier Reef from their family vessel off Australia's coast when they happened upon the sprawling coral colony.
When I hopped in the water, I realized the significance of what we were seeing. You're just these beautiful undulating meadows, and there's fish life everywhere.
Researchers verified and mapped the coral using underwater measurements and 3D modeling, and at over 40,000 square feet, or about the size of 15 tennis courts, it's now the world's largest known coral colony. The discovery comes as the Great Barrier Reef has faced repeated mass bleaching events driven by rising ocean temperatures. Scientists are now examining what exactly allowed this colossal coral colony to not just survive, but thrive.
It just shows like this is right under our noses here. What else have we got to discover?
In Scotland, another amazing and unexpected discovery, this one by a couple simply walking their dogs on a beach after a storm. That's where researchers say the couple spotted unique fossilized footprints in the surf. The pair reported the find to regional archaeologists, including a team from the University of Aberdeen, who designated the situation a genuine archaeological emergency and rushed to document the scene and capture molds of the prints before they were washed away. Within a week, the footprints had reportedly vanished in the surf, but researchers had successfully created 3D models from the gathered data and radiocarbon dated the tracks to roughly 2,000 years old, or around the time invading Roman soldiers may have been storming Scotland's beaches during the Iron Age. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Australian photographer Matty Smith has been named Underwater Photographer of the Year. This is his award-winning photo of a pair of southern elephant seal pups in a rock pool on the Falkland Islands. He used a special homemade dome to capture the picture. It was among more than 7,900 entries for the award. Today in history, on this day in 1993, the Waco standoff began. Members of the Branch Davidians heard of the pending raid by ATF agents. The agents were planning to arrest the cult's leader, David Koresh. Instead, there was a lengthy gunfight between people in the compound that resulted in the deaths of 4 ATV agents and 6 Davidians. A ceasefire was declared, starting a 51-day standoff between the Davidians and federal authorities. And in 1953, a discovery of minuscule size with a huge impact on the world. Scientists James Watson and Francis Crick discovered the DNA double helix structure. The pair then walked into a pub near the University of Cambridge and then announced that they had discovered the secret of life. A couple made a shocking discovery while walking their dogs on a beach in Scotland. Find out what it is right after the break. We want to dive back into this crazy story in Scotland, an unexpected, but amazing discovery made by a couple walking their 2 dogs on a beach after a storm. Researchers say the couple spotted unique fossilized footprints. The pair reported the find to regional archaeologists, who designated the situation an archaeological emergency. They rushed to document the scene and gather molds of the prints before they were washed away. Luckily, researchers had successfully created 3D models from the data, finding that the tracks were roughly 2,000 years old. They hint that these could have been from around the time Roman soldiers stormed Scotland's beaches in the Iron Age. I don't know if I would ever find anything like that. Do you think you would?
I don't know that I'm that observant. That
Me neither.
You know, I'd be too focused on looking at the landscape to be looking right down.
Yeah.
But I mean, good on them for finding
exactly.
that. Well, our forecast here for the day looks quite nice. We've got some sunshine expected later today. It is going to be quite warm though. Temperatures climb into the lower 80s for us this afternoon. We stay warm through the rest of the weekend, but we've got better chances for rain on the forecast later next week, as we're expecting multiple rounds of thunderstorms to move into the area beginning Wednesday and continuing through the end of next week and even into next weekend. Brooke, back to you.
Thanks so much, Emily. Well, stay with us. The second hour of Gmet Saturday is next.
Your news wherever you are. Sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union. This week's Pet of the Week is Belle from Jacksonville. Submit your pet's photo on the Pet Project app today. If you missed any part of this newscast or would like to see it again, you can find it right now in your preferred connected TV device.
Very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take.
U.S. and Israel forces launching a major attack against Iran overnight as tensions over nuclear weapons peak. We'll walk you through the ongoing attacks just ahead. Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital is set to become Medical Center campus after a unanimous 15-year lease approval. We tell you more about what this means for Deep East Texas. Cedar, pine, and elm creates triple threats as pollen levels continue to rise. We have more on the steps you can take to fight the allergies.
We're warm for the weekend, and then we've got chances for rain on the forecast next week. We'll talk about all those details right here on Good Morning East Texas Weekend.
Caring, committed, proud of East Texas. You're watching Good Morning East Texas Weekend.
Our second hour. Today is Saturday, February 28th. We're glad you're spending part of your morning with us. Let's get started by checking in with meteorologist Emily Edwards over in the First Alert Weather Center. Emily, tell us more about this nice weather that we've been seeing.
Well, the nice weather continues for the weekend at least. We're going to see some sunshine. Temperatures are going to be on the warm side for us, although as we head into next week, that all starts to change with those better chances for rain. Here's a look at those temperatures this morning. Most of the area sitting in the 50s and 60s out there. 64 degrees in Tyler, 61 in Longview, 63 in Lufkin this morning, 57 still in Carthage and Center, 51 degrees in Hemphill. But through the rest of our Saturday, we're going to see that cloud cover kind of scatter out of it. We'll see some sunshine later today. High temperatures are going to climb into the lower 80s for us, and we'll be in the 80s again tomorrow. Another quiet forecast for our Sunday, though you may notice those winds starting to pick up tomorrow, especially through the afternoon. Gusts up to 15 to 20 miles an hour. A few more clouds rolling in through the day tomorrow as well. And then we see that chance for rain back in the forecast next week. Monday and Tuesday, just a very slight chance for rain, only about 10% or so. Most of us do stay dry through the early part of next week, but by Wednesday, we're watching that chance for some scattered thunderstorms to move into the area, and we're actually expecting multiple rounds of thunderstorms to move into the area next week. That continues Wednesday, Thursday, even into Friday and Saturday, and at times, a few of those thunderstorms could become strong to severe. Right now, a first alert weather day in place for our Wednesday. As I mentioned, there is that risk for a few strong to severe thunderstorms, especially across kind of the northern half of our East Texas area. But don't be surprised if, as we get closer to next week, you see those first alert weather days extended even later into the week, because as I mentioned, we are expecting multiple rounds of those thunderstorms to move into the area. But an otherwise quiet weekend ahead for us. Some sunshine today, a few more clouds tomorrow. You'll notice those temperatures continuing to run well above average for us this time of year. We're going to be in the 80s all throughout the weekend, even into next week. That slight chance for rain does return Monday and Tuesday, but it really starts to ramp up by the mid to late part of next week as we see that next storm system move through and as we see those thunderstorms move into the area. Brooke, back to you.
Thank you, Emily. Happening right now, Israel and U.S. forces are continuing to launch a major attack on Iran. That attack began around 1 a.m. our time, which was morning time for those in the Middle East. What you're seeing now is a large plume of smoke in the center of Iran's capital, Tehran. Those attacks first began in the capital before spreading through several other portions of Iran. Right now, it's unclear if the country's leader was inside the Capitol building when those strikes happened. The attacks come as the U.S. calls on Iran to stop their nuclear program. President Trump issuing overnight statements telling those in Iran to stay sheltered.
Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
Right now, it's unclear how long this operation may last. It's also unclear what the number of casualties are. As this situation is ongoing, we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more. Back in the courtroom in Gregg County, a jury less than 24 hours ago decided on probation sentences for 2 former principals convicted of child abuse. These are the 2 on your screen. Cassandra James and Linda Lister were both former administrators at J.L. Everhart Elementary in Longview. After about an hour of deliberations, the jury delivered the probation sentences. James and Lister were both served 10-year probation sentences with $10,000 fines. However, due to the way Lister handled reports of potential child abuse and similar behavior from 15 years ago, the judge decided she will serve jail time.
You should have told them to be professional. You should have told them to treat those kids with dignity. But instead you warned them about something. Well, I saw it on video what you warned them about.
In 2011, Lister reportedly dragged a kindergartner across the classroom by her arm and left her outside the school building. The student was found nearly 20 minutes later with ants in her lunch and her face pressed against a window. The judge has yet to set the length of jail time for Lister, as she could serve up to 180 days. A trial date has been set for a woman charged with murder in the 2016 death of Shariah Grant. Grant was 8 months pregnant when she died. The trial for Lanisha Young is set for September 2027. She's one of 3 charged with Grant's death. Prosecutors want to try one of the other defendants, Alan Sutton, first. That's set to happen in March of 2027. We spoke with Grant's family, who says they're still waiting for justice.
Just the hurt, the anger, the pain. We still haven't been able to have a proper burial service, memorial service for her at all. It's just a lot of hurt because we still, want to know why. It's just a lot of unanswered questions.
Prosecutors plan to try Edward Brager, the 3rd defendant after Young. There's no trial date set for him yet. The Henderson Police Department is asking for your help in finding a missing man. 23-year-old Joseph Shelton was last seen 2 weeks ago in the area of Van Buren Street in the city of Henderson. He's 5'8" and weighs around 160 pounds. Police say they don't have a description of his clothing, but he may have a gaming system and a laptop with him. If you or someone you know has any information about his location, police urge you to call them at the number you see there on your screen. OpenAI has made a deal with the Pentagon. The agreement calls for OpenAI to provide its intelligence technologies for the Defense Department's classified systems. Yesterday's announcement from the maker of ChatGPT came hours after President Donald Trump told federal agents to stop using AI capabilities from rival company Anthropic. Officials with the San Francisco company say it has come up with a method that will make sure its technologies will not be applied for domestic surveillance in the U.S. The Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital District Board approved a lease agreement between the medical center and Memorial Hospital. This will make Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital a campus of the medical center for the next 15 years. Gmet Weekend's Olivia Hartpence was at the meeting where the board unanimously voted yes to the agreement.
Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital has been on shaky ground. Financial struggles, leadership turnover, threats of closure. Community leaders voted to try something new. Memorial Hospital is now in a lease agreement with the Nacogdoches Medical Center and Tenet Healthcare. Their goal is to provide better care and more services.
Systems that come in, they consider us to be a 1.5 hospital town, and you've got 2 hospitals. It just made sense for us to combine forces and cooperate to provide better health care to this community than either one of us could do by ourselves.
Under the 15-year lease, Memorial becomes a campus of the Nacogdoches Medical Center. This could mean new staff, new equipment, and expanded services for patients.
You're going to see me next week. I look forward to rounding and trying to provide reassurances that we're excited about growing our team.
But for Memorial's current employees, there is a level of uncertainty. Tenet Healthcare will decide who stays and who goes once the transition is complete. Memorial CEO Rhonda McCabe says they are committed to keeping as many workers as possible, and severance packages are being prepared for those who don't make the transition.
As soon as we have a firm plan, I will communicate that to the directors and managers of this organization, and they will communicate that down to their staff. We are also working on severance packages for those that are not employed by tenant or that choose not to work there.
The property tax approved in September stays with the hospital district to help fund the transition and continue serving Nacogdoches' most vulnerable patients. For Good Morning East Texas Weekend, I'm Olivia Hardpence.
The hospital board says they hope things look significantly different in 12 months, but there's no hard deadline for the transition. Cedar, pine, and elm, it's a triple threat aggravating your allergies these days. Gmet Weekend's April Peardant has more on the steps you can take as the pollen levels pick up.
We're just now starting to see allergies pick up.
Pediatrician Dr. Holly Blanco is busy seeing more allergy-related visits at Krista's Mother Frances Lindale Clinic.
In springtime, tree pollen tends to be the primary allergen in the air. In East Texas, we have the cedar, the pine, and the elm trees that produce pollen that tend to aggravate our allergies.
Typical symptoms include a runny nose, sneezing, and itchy, watery eyes. Dr. Blanco says you can prevent exposure and reduce these symptoms by
keeping your windows closed, using the AC unit with a HEPA filter. If you're going to be outside, taking a shower once you come inside, and if you tend to have those eye symptoms, even wearing sunglasses can try to help reduce some of that pollen getting into your eyes, causing the irritation.
If symptoms persist, prescription or non-prescription nasal steroids like Flonase or Nasonex may be added.
And then there's even newer products that actually have a nasal antihistamine in them called Astelin that we're using as well.
In some cases where individuals with severe or difficult to control symptoms come into play, she recommends for people to ask about allergy shots.
Once we know what your triggering factors are, then they can make solutions.
But that can take time and trial and error.
Typically, you'll be getting allergy shots for 4 or 5 years to really desensitize you to everything.
Allergy season is here, and Dr. Blanco says the sooner you start managing your symptoms, the better your spring will be. For Good Morning East Texas Weekend, I'm April Peardant.
If symptoms are severe, persistent, or not relieved by over-the-counter medication, it's suggested that you do visit with your doctor. It's time now to check back in with meteorologist Emily Edwards in our First Alert Weather Center. Emily, tell us more about these rains that are maybe coming in later in the week.
Yeah, you know, we're expecting several rounds of rainfall to move in later next week, and that's actually good news, even though it comes with the threat of a few stronger thunderstorms, and that's because we need the rain here in East Texas. We'll talk more details on your First Alert forecast. That's coming up next, but first, a look outside this morning at our Roberts & Roberts neighborhood weather net site in Gilmer. It's 56 degrees.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by jchadparker.com. Don't get hurt twice.
Well, temperatures are in the 60s for most of us this morning. It's 64 degrees in Tyler, 61 in Longview, 66 in Palestine, 63 degrees in Lufkin this morning, 64 in Crockett. And through the rest of the day, temperatures are going to warm up quite nicely. We're still going to be well above normal for this time of year. Those high temperatures climbing into the lower 80s for us later today. We'll see mostly sunny skies, and the rest of our weekend looks quiet. We'll see a few more clouds through the day tomorrow. Those winds starting to pick up on your Sunday as well, but it's not until next week that we see some chances for rain back in the forecast. That begins Monday, although it's only a very slight chance for rain. I'm talking about 10% or less. That continues into Tuesday. Most of us are going to stay dry through the early part of the work week, but we're watching that next storm system that's going to bring multiple rounds of thunderstorms to the area, and that begins Wednesday, even continuing into Thursday, Friday, even Saturday of next week. Right now, a First Alert weather day in place for our Wednesday, as a few of those thunderstorms could become strong to severe. But as I mentioned, we're expecting that rainfall to continue through the second half of next week. So don't be surprised if you see those First Alert weather days extended into the later part of next week. Right now, we're watching the trends, and we'll be sure to give you the first alert to any changes within the forecast. But even though those storms come with that threat of strong thunderstorms, the good news is we're going to see hopefully a good soaking rainfall for parts of the area. You'll notice that heaviest rainfall kind of setting up across some of our northern zones. And if you'll remember, we've been increasingly dry these last few weeks. So any rainfall that we can get at this point, well, we'll take it to hopefully help alleviate some of those drought conditions. We're looking at a quiet weekend ahead. That slight chance for rain does return by Monday. You'll notice those temperatures continuing to run well above normal highs in the 80s even through the early part of next week. That chance for rain really starts to ramp up by Wednesday with that next first alert weather day, and we'll see multiple rounds of thunderstorms continue through the end of next week. Brooke, back to you.
Emily, thank you. 2 years ago, the Texas African American Museum revealed a new historical marker dedicated to schools that served black youth in the segregated South. In today's Mark in History, in Texas history, our Mark Skirdo shows us what the museum is doing to keep those historic places alive.
Between 1912 and 1937, Rosenwald helped fund over 5,000 schools across the segregated South.
The hardwood floor, I heard children moving around and on the hardwood floor, it had a different sound to it. But it was a great school and great time.
There were 17 Rosenwald schools in Smith County. The Texas African American Museum unveiled a marker dedicated to all the schools in the surrounding area.
Our foreparents were in slavery and they did not get an opportunity to get an education. And it was important because Julius Rosenwald and Booker T. Washington came together to formulate the Rosenwald School Program.
The museum hopes to continue its education on Rosenwald schools. That includes learning more about physical locations that have largely been lost and finding those who have connections to the schools. I'm Mark Skirdo, and this has been a Mark in Texas History.
And if you'd like to learn more, you can visit the historical marker at the Texas African American Museum on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Tyler.
East Texas Sports, sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union.
Well, good morning, East Texas. I'm Ryan Smith, and welcome into sports. SFA basketball is back for their final Saturday doubleheader of the 2025-26 season. The Lumber and Lady Jacks heading down to Houston to face Houston Christian. Starting with the ladies, the Jacks riding into town on a 6-game winning streak, facing a Huskies team that they dominated in NAC 87-67. First tip for the Jacks and Huskies is set for 1 p.m. Meanwhile, for the guys looking to bounce back after suffering their first loss in close to 2 months on Monday night against New Orleans. With a win later today, the Jacks will guarantee themselves a share of the Southland regular season title. And if McNeese were to lose as well, then SFA will win the regular season title outright. Their first tip will be at 3:30 right after the ladies against Houston Christian. Well, that's all from sports for this morning. Make it a great one.
Well, our recent streak of warm temperatures continues into the weekend. We'll talk all the details on your first alert forecast coming up. But first, another look outside this morning at our Roberts & Roberts neighborhood weather net site at the Wood County Airport. It's 63 degrees.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by jchadparker.com. Don't get hurt twice.
Well, we're looking out at the view from SFA Nacogdoches this morning. You're seeing some sunshine out there, and that'll be the case for much of our Saturday. It is going to be another warm day out there. Right now, temperatures are in the 60s for most of us. It's 60 degrees in Carthage, 68 in Palestine, 64 in Nacogdoches, 64 in Tyler as well, 67 degrees in Sulphur Springs this morning. And through the rest of our Saturday, those high temperatures are going to climb into the lower 80s for us. Now, we'll see another cool night. A few more clouds rolling in by early Sunday morning. Temperatures dip down into the 50s for us. And then tomorrow is going to be another warm day. We may see a few more clouds throughout our Sunday, but you'll notice those winds starting to pick up by Sunday afternoon. South winds with gusts around 15 to 20 miles an hour expected through the day. We're still going to be in the 80s tomorrow, and we stay pretty warm through much of next week, but we do have some changes to the forecast. That comes with our next chance for rain. Now, things stay pretty quiet for us for the weekend, as you just saw. A very slight chance for rain returning by Monday and Tuesday, though it's not going to be much. Most of us stay dry through the early part of next week. We're watching, though, Wednesday, Thursday, even into Friday, Saturday of next week, as we're expecting multiple rounds of thunderstorms to move into the area. Right now, a first alert weather day is in place for our Wednesdays. We could see a few strong to severe thunderstorms in our East Texas area, but don't be surprised if we see a few more first alert weather days issued into the end of next week. As I mentioned, we're expecting more of that rainfall through the end of next week, so something to keep an eye on as we head into these next 2 days. An otherwise quiet weekend for us. We'll see some sunshine today, a few more clouds tomorrow, but check out those temperatures staying quite warm through the next several days. We're going to be in the 80s for the rest of the weekend, even into early next week. Those rain chances really beginning to ramp up on Wednesday with that next first alert weather day, and we'll see that chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms kind of continue on and off through the second half of next week. So you'll want to dust off the umbrellas. I know we haven't needed them in a while. Yeah. You will probably need them next week.
So you're saying to, soak up the sun while we can.
Yeah,
Emily.
exactly.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Happening today. No price tag, no problem. The Zonta Club of Longview is once again giving away hundreds of prom dresses for free. Gmet Weekend's Jamie Boyum shows us what it takes to set up the big shop in dozens of dressing rooms.
Zonta Prom Boutique Coordinator Amy Best is pretty busy. She, with a whole lot of help, is setting up a dress store. First, clothing racks need to be moved to Longview's exhibit center.
We have some great sponsors that are donating their space to us right now, and that's Wellness Point and Pine Tree. We store our racks and equipment and then our prom dresses there.
She can't move it herself, and that's where Rance Bearden with the House of Disciples steps in. Well, he and the rest of the crew.
The guys usually kind of get together and pull together. We try to work as a team. We try to stay united at the house like a brotherhood and keep everybody on the same page, working together.
The second U-Haul trip is for the dresses. 10 minutes and the truck is loaded.
We're used to working with each other.
That's apparent.
And then we bring it all to the exhibit building, and then as you see on your video, we just start setting stuff up.
The dress shop room is a flurry of activity. Racks put in rows and about 35 dressing rooms set up simultaneously.
It actually feels good to be able to help out people, especially when they're helping out the children, to be able to have a prom dress for the prom and being able to attend and not have to worry about those issues.
Those issues being $500 or more for a prom dress.
We literally have hundreds, if not 1,000 or more dresses.
All free for whoever wants one. And helping with the setup.
I think it's a good thing, a good deed.
And after the giveaway is the next good deed, tearing it all down. For Good Morning East Texas Weekend, I'm Jamie Boyum.
Again, it's happening at the Longview Fairgrounds Exhibit Center from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon today. To register for the giveaway, just get the QR code on your screen or go to KLTV or KTRE.com and click on the big red box. Well, folks, check this out. A 19th century Texas relic has a new home at Stephen F. Austin State University. The Middlebrook family has kept the book for more than 130 years. Now they're donating it to SFA for preservation. A first-time trip to a lake he had never fished at before ended with one East Texan walking away with a prize that blew him out of the water. Gmet Weekend's Meredith Billing shows us just how big of a catch it really was.
I freaked out. I thought it was the biggest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Emory native Jack York is no stranger to the waters.
Just started catching big one after big one until I caught her.
But his first time on Lake Tyler caught him by surprise.
Don't know anybody that fishes out here, never heard anything, and really just kind of winging it until about noon.
Using gizzard shad bait, York started reeling them in.
I ended up catching a 12, a couple 9-pounders, just a phenomenal day, literally the best day of bass fishing I've ever had.
A day that was about to somehow get even better.
My buddy Jake, he got to net it for me, so that was a super cool moment. Yeah, really just kind of at a loss for words when I first saw her.
Speechless, York made a phone call to ShareLunker, a Texas Parks and Wildlife program that works to research and breed catches over 13 pounds.
I'm like, look, it's a giant. Y'all need to head this way. And luckily, she was super awesome about it. They got the Toyota all packed up and hit the road, and they were here in no time.
Weighing in at 13.45 pounds.
Anytime you catch a fish like that, that's just something you'll never forget the rest of your life. So, yeah, that was an unforgettable memory, to say the least. All good, great day, and we'll be back to Lake Tyler.
His first cast on Lake Tyler. Proof that sometimes the biggest catches come when you least expect them.
The fish marks the 10th Legacy Class catch of the season and York's second qualifying catch to qualify. The fish has to weigh over 13 pounds and be used to help with preservation and breeding. Some businesses are looking at high-tech solutions to mobile security, and they're doing so through robot dogs. What engineers of the guard dog say it's capable of doing. Just ahead. Welcome back to Good Morning East Texas Weekend. We still have another 30 minutes with you. Some businesses across the country are using a high-tech version of the classic guard dog to add an extra level of security. Reporter Susan Campbell shows us how the drone dog combines automation and human expertise to sniff out threats.
This robot is covered in sensors and does automated patrols. It's the size of a dog. It even has some of the same mannerisms. And this dog is full of tricks. Drone dog's on patrol at a warehouse in Waddell.
It's doing all of those checks, gates, doors, locks, looking for people in places where they shouldn't be.
How many miles has this robot patrolled at just this site?
This robot has patrolled thousands of miles just in this yard.
A-Salon's Ryan Hodgins says there are robots like this all over the country, patrolling places like distribution centers and manufacturing plants. When they're on patrol, they provide live video feeds to a monitoring center in Pennsylvania where people are watching.
We can stop the robot in one place, move the camera over, zoom in 40x onto a door to inspect it. We can, if we're operating at night, switch over to thermal as well too to easily detect heat signatures.
This technology is used at big events too.
For example, out at the Indy 500, we're operating with a chemical gas detection sensor integrated on board the robot underneath the tunnel system.
From tunnels to stairs, it can navigate all kinds of obstacles thanks to 20 or so sensors that are built in.
There's a lot of engineering work that's gone into the stability piece here. So in terms of maintaining its ability to stay upright around curbs, up and over gravel and uneven terrain here, the stability is truly like unmatched with this robot.
Every single joint moves independently.
It does, yep.
Those movements sometimes mimic an animal so well, you almost forget he's a robot. He's ready to go. You did it. You feel like it's real.
You do. Each one kind of has their own personality.
Are there privacy concerns with something like this that is live streaming images?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of privacy, think of it like another camera here. This camera here happens to have 4 legs.
And a 90-minute battery life. Then it's back to the doghouse to recharge and rest up for the next patrol.
Ryan says there is a speaker on Drone Dog so it can talk to people in its path, either with a pre-recorded message or live communication. Well, folks, as people mourn the loss of singer-songwriter Neil Sedaka, we're taking a look back at his life and his impact in the entertainment world. We'll share that and an update on weather when we come back.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by jchadparker.com. Don't get hurt twice.
Well, temperatures are in the 60s for us at this hour, but into the rest of our Saturday, we're actually going to climb up into the lower 80s, so we're going to remain well above normal for this time of year. We'll see some sunshine for our Saturday afternoon, a beautiful day if you want to get out and enjoy it before we see that rain move in, although we've got a few more days until we see that. Tomorrow, another quiet day, a few more clouds throughout our Sunday. You'll also notice those winds starting to pick up Sunday afternoon, gusts up to 15 to 20 miles an hour. Now, by Monday and Tuesday, we see a very slight chance for rain returning to the forecast, only about 10% or so. Most of us stay dry even into the early part of the work week. It's not until Wednesday that we're watching for that potential for a few scattered thunderstorms to move into the area, and a few of them could become strong to severe at times. A first alert weather day in place for our Wednesday, but that's not where it ends. We're expecting multiple rounds of rainfall later next week. You'll see here continuing into Thursday, Friday, even Saturday of next week as we see that storm system move into the area. Right now, as I mentioned, for the threat for a few strong to severe thunderstorms for our Wednesday, kind of across the northern half of our area. But with that threat for strong to severe thunderstorms, we're also looking at the possibility of some heavy rainfall, which may be a good thing for us here in East Texas. You'll notice those heavier bands of rainfall kind of setting up to the north and west, and we really need that rain considering how dry things have been lately. You'll notice rainfall totals a little bit lighter further down to the south into deep East Texas, but any rainfall that we can get at this point, well, we'll take it because of that drought that we're still dealing with across the area. Things stay pretty quiet for the rest of our weekend. Some sunshine today. We'll see a few more clouds tomorrow, and you'll notice those temperatures remaining well above normal even into next week. We'll see highs in the lower 80s through much of next week. That chance for rain returning by Monday, but it's not until the middle of next week that it really starts to ramp up, so you will want to have the umbrellas handy and have the first alert weather app handy to you so you can track changes to the forecast.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the updates, Emily. Well, pop legend Neil Sedaka, the voice behind classics like Oh Carol and Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, has died. From topping the Billboard Hot 100 to writing hits for Connie Francis, Sedaka's career spanned more than 6 decades, even finding new fame on TikTok in his final years.
Neil Sedaka first made his way to the Billboard Top 10 in early 1960 with the song Oh Carol. It was about his teenage girlfriend, someone who went on to become a music legend herself, Carole King. More hits would follow.
You mean everything to me. I love my calendar girl. La 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 la. Happy birthday, sweet 16. Breaking up is hard to do.
Sedaka would then top the Billboard Hot 100 for the first time with his 1962 hit, Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, a song he did again in 1975 with a different arrangement, with that becoming Sedaka's signature song.
Breaking up is hard to do.
Sedaka also wrote for other artists. Connie Francis had a hit in 1958 with this song.
Stupid Cupid, stop picking on me.
He also wrote the Captain and Tennille's most well-known song. Over the years, Sedaka would receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He would be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He would be nominated for 5 Grammys. And in his final years, he would emerge as a star on TikTok.
Hi, I'm Neil Sedaka. This is my grandson, Michael Sedaka.
Sedaka boasted more than 200,000 followers who would listen to him sing with his grandson and learn behind-the-scenes stories to some of his greatest hits.
When you say that you're in love with me.
Neil Sedaka died at 86 years old. Side jobs are becoming more common for people to pick up. If that's something you've been considering doing, we spoke with experts on how to best balance a side gig with your life. A lot of people have side jobs these days, sometimes called gigs or side hustles. So how do you make that side job work for you beyond the paycheck? Consumer investigator Rachel DePompa goes in search of answers in today's Watching Your Wallet.
First, you have to look at what is a gig job. It means you're earning income, providing on-demand work, services, or goods, often through a digital platform like an app. Think Uber or food delivery. Stoy Hall, the founder and CEO of Black Mammoth, a financial planning and wealth management firm, says if that's you, you have to change your mindset and think of yourself as a business owner.
If you have a gig, because it's not W-2, it's usually 1099, you are a business owner.
So you need to start operating and thinking a little more like a business owner. Separate accounts, maybe an LLC, understanding the tax consequences, but also understanding the flexibility in that and the tax write-offs that you get, which, yeah, might not help you today with your cash flow, but it's definitely going to help you come tax time.
The thing about gig work, it's always up and down and not always a consistent stream of money, which is why Hall says you also have to figure out your baseline, meaning the minimum you need to make from this job each month.
If I know that, hey, $1,000 a month I need no matter what in expenses for me to survive or to meet whatever I need in my life, then I know when I have months that I make $2,000, I need to set aside that $1,000. In the months I make $500, I'm going to pull from what I set aside. And you only are stuck to that $1,000.
Hall says if you've made $2,000 for 6 straight months, then it's time to adjust. You just make sure you understand your tax situation, your goals, or what this gig has done for you. He says people often get in trouble when they make extra money for months in a row, but just spend it all without a plan. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
More than 1 in 3 Americans now earn money through freelance or gig work, according to industry estimates. Some breaking news entering the newsroom just moments ago. 2 people near Lufkin are dead after suffering gunshot wounds overnight. According to Angelina County Sheriff Tom Selman, the sheriff's office got a call at 2 a.m. about a shooting at the Hangout on U.S. Highway 69. Deputies found a 23 and 29-year-old male with gunshot wounds dead at the scene. The investigation is ongoing. The sheriff's office urges anyone with information to contact the sheriff's office. This week was full of strange and unusual stories, including the moment when drivers were caught in a sudden sinkhole. That and more unusual stories from this week in a couple of minutes. A hiding suspect pops out of a garbage can and a sinkhole swallows up 2 cars in traffic. Reporter Jeremy Roth takes a look back at this week's weirdest and wildest stories. And today's Take a Look at This Week.
Take a look at the week we had. An unsuspecting sanitation worker got quite the scare when they popped the top on a bin, revealing a suspect's hiding spot. Huber Heights PD says it all started when the suspect ran from a traffic stop. Dashcam just happened to catch the moment. A worker lifted the lid on the case, literally, revealing the hiding suspect, who bolted but was later arrested. Officers said the trash can camouflage character was later dubbed Oscar the Grouch. In Nebraska, a pair of vehicles got tow up from the flow up when a sinkhole suddenly opened up and swallowed them at a traffic light in Omaha. Cameras captured the roadway giving way, causing the pair to plummet into the sinkhole. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Police say witnesses rushed to the surreal scene, helping pull the drivers up and out of the hole, and a towing company later did the same for the 2 trapped vehicles. A day of diving for a mother-daughter duo turned into a record-breaking discovery after the pair identified the world's largest coral colony while surveying reefs off the coast of Australia. Located on the Great Barrier Reef, the colony stretches over 40,000 square feet. That's about the size of 15 tennis courts. After the initial sighting, researchers verified and mapped the coral using underwater measurements and 3D modeling. Finally, a New York resident took a very unique fight for free speech to his governor and got himself a backer. In January, Long Islander Seth Bykowski received a letter from his DMV telling him his vanity plate reading, "Pee before we go," had to go. Bykowski posted the letter online where it caught the eye of Governor Kathy Hochul, who posted a video of a call this week with Bykowski telling him she was Team Pee before we go, calling the plate a public service. For Take a Look at This Week, I'm Jeremy Roth.
And since that phone call with Governor Hochul, the vanity plate has since been reapproved by the New York State DMV. Here's a live look at our live weather cam. First Alert meteorologist Emily Edwards has a final check on our forecast after the break. We'll be right back. Check this out. A Pennsylvania police officer is inspiring young students to try something new. Rebecca Key Gaskins is nearing the end of her career and has been teaching Catholic school children the basics of crochet. Key Gaskins is part of the Cops in the Classroom program, where law enforcement is invited to read to students. But this veteran officer wanted to pass down a skill she learned from her mother. Key Gaskins said she plans to retire this year and hopes to continue teaching children in the years to come. Okay, let's head back over to meteorologist Emily Edwards with the First Alert Weather Center for one final check on the forecast. Emily. What's left?
Well, it's going to be warm. It's been warm all week long, and today is going to be no different. We're going to see some sunshine. Temperatures are going to climb up into the 80s later this afternoon. We stay warm for the rest of our weekend. Tomorrow, you'll notice those temperatures climbing into the 80s once again. We'll see those winds picking up for your Sunday as well. Those breezy winds kind of stick with us all week long, but check that out by Monday, Tuesday. Very slight chances for rain returning to the forecast, but that increases by the mid to late part of next week. Our next first alert weather day in place for Wednesday, as we're expecting a few strong to severe thunderstorms to move into the area as well. And we're not just expecting one round of thunderstorms, we're expecting multiple rounds through the end of next week. So you will want to stay weather alert and have the first alert weather app handy, and of course have the umbrella handy as well.
Yes, of course. Luckily I have the big umbrella, so no rain is getting near me. Well, we'll be back with more news and weather tonight at 6. Until then, stay connected with us with our free KLTV News app. Have a great night.
Your news wherever you are. Sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union. This week's Pet of the Week is Belle from Jacksonville. Submit your pet's photo on the Pet Project app today. If you missed any part of this newscast or would like to see it again, you can find it right now in your preferred connected TV device.